Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps a lot. And also keep in mind that these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Enjoy. All right, folks, here after market close on Thursday, October 20th, we're going to take a look at Babylon Holdings, BBLN, recently de-SPACed, I think, on the 22nd, which is this day here, and sort of wanted to take a look. Now, this isn't going to do a lot for us. I know that's not shocking. There's like one level that I would grab out of here that I think will be significant. There's 1137. 39, we'll call it, area. You can see that continuing to come into play. But I think we need to back this off to something like 10-minute interval or maybe 30 minutes, something like that. But let me see if I can get a good view on a 5-day here. Now, BBLN won a poll that I put out on Twitter. It did not win the YouTube poll, but in those cases, I just do both. So, all right, so here's the 5-day, 5 minutes. I think this will cover us pretty well for the time being. And what I wanted to do today is basically just put in some levels that look like they might be significant, pivot points, levels that could play key roles in support and resistance, and of course, any trends that have already started to develop. And then basically we'll flip over and look at a little bit of context around BBLN if you're not familiar, and then a quick look at the data and call it a video. We might do those last two things in reverse. But in any case, if we look right here, this is a really sort of the key critical level for BBLN for the time being to the upside. So 1075 clearly flipping from support to resistance, previous support here, previous support back here as well. And so that's a pretty strong zone for it. Now to the downside, I know we're at 1057 right now, but let's grab something from back here and see. This is like an actual decent pivot point. Resistance to support, support, support that fell to resistance. So 1021 would be the level that I would look to, and it's sort of just, you know, mixed in between those at the moment. It could just kind of range bound itself if it's moving sideways, of course, or maybe it'll be able to flip that 1075 back around again. Now, on the trend side of things, and we can come back and add in some additional price targets. I'll add a couple more to the upside now, and then if things get really interesting with BBLN, we can come back and do some more, depending on where the price is at that point. So, the one potential, upside to this sort of sell-off that obviously was down almost 10% today, but it was sort of trapped under this downtrend, and it was able to kind of maneuver its way or consolidate its way out of this by staying mostly range-bound today, including throughout the aftermarket and pre-market hours. And so this could give it an opportunity to start sort of like establishing its own floor, as opposed to having to like pull from this 1021 area. I am also seeing this area for sure, because this has this gap that it then used as clear support in those days. So I'm just going to leave that there. But in any case, this could allow it to start kind of moving sideways and building itself a base from which to establish a move into the price that's seen as, the fair value per investors of BBLN, as opposed to its acquisition group or SPAC. Now to the upside, I would look for this level here. 1206 would be the next one after 1139 in my mind. See this resistance here, resistance that flipped to support, support that failed and flipped to resistance. And then even back here, you were catching resistance that it was able to finally break through, even though this was in aftermarket hours, and put together a pretty solid run up. And even flipped right here as well. It's pretty clear at that level. So those are the price levels that I would be paying attention to, obviously to the downside to see if they can grab some support there, to the upside, especially this 1075, to see if they can quickly flip those from resistance to support and then make a run at the next one and sort of repeatedly do that to try to work themselves up. But yeah, otherwise, this breakout of this downtrend is helpful. I would be cautious that it doesn't just kind of like fall relatively quickly and start to kind of come back and treat this as support when it was previously resistance. We see that happen not an insignificant amount of times, but it would have to fall pretty steep because this is a pretty steep downtrend resistance line. So I don't know that it would really fall that steep for sure. But that's what I see on the charting side of things. We can see if there's any interesting indicators doing anything at the moment. I mean, everything is pretty fresh, so it's a little bit hard to say. I mean, you could be getting a little rollover, bullish crossover on the MACD could be taking shape. You'll have to see. It'll probably take a little bit to play out, of course. RSI wise, certainly well into oversold territory at this point, but when these things are so fresh, it can be quite challenging to get a handle on the indicators before they just have some time to settle in to the swing of things on their own. Now, I didn't have time to go and look up what the SPACs situation was leading into the merger deal. If somebody has info on that, feel free to drop it in the comments. I'd be happy to pin it. But they may have been relatively heavily shorted going into this. I don't know. IPOE, when it flipped to SoFi, for example, that was one of the ones that I paid really strong attention to. And basically, I'm wondering that because it's coming through like this, right? Short interest change up over 100%. This is Ortex estimating this today. We can't get a handle on short interest percentage of the free float because probably the free float is still getting sort of understood, squared away, calculated, at least for the public view side of things. And again, something like for SoFi, like there was questions about what the free float was for quite a while that like even investor relations wouldn't answer. So, hopefully that gets cleared up relatively quickly here. But see that huge jump up and obviously a big push down today. So you might be in a situation where shorts are really wanting to come in and pound this pretty hard after this run up, which it's already nearly at half what it was at its peak here, which is pretty crazy. Utilization also getting close to 60. So, that's pretty high, and to additionally be piling in this much. So we'll see what happens as some of this data kind of gets squared away, and that would be helpful. But that's where it sits for now. Now, I'm going to use this person's at King Tut SPACs on Twitter, puts out really great threads, really great DD and info on SPACs, and I definitely recommend following that account if you would like. But they've basically done a bunch of the work here, so I just wanted to share some info if you're not super familiar with BBLN, or you can just flip over and take a look at this for yourself. If you just search for at King Tut SPACs and Babylon Health, you should get it. But this was on March 7th, so this was a while back. But Babylon is nothing close to Clove. Babylon is a leading telehealth player in Europe, along with Swedish company Cry. I don't know if that's how it's actually pronounced. I know it's not English, but Babylon has ramped up presence in Africa and Asia. Babylon launched in the US market last year and is a serious competitor to Teladoc. Babylon's core competency that differentiates it from others is their AI technology. They're miles ahead of the competition. Their AI tech has received scrutiny in the UK market from regulators from privacy and accuracy issues. Babylon has grown significantly in the US market in less than a year. They're winning serious market share and contracts from Teladoc. They've added tons of C-suite executives from Google, Expedia, Amazon. Babylon has been licensing their software to others, which generates positive revenue. And then there's some screenshots here. Babylon has had tremendous growth in 2020, obviously due to COVID. But what will define them is their future outlook. As of 2021, the year after year of launch, and after a year of launch, Babylon says 70-80% of revenue now comes from the US. That's really, really remarkable. If the $4 billion valuation is accurate, this person speculating based on the SPAC acquisition, that's a very lucrative and discounted valuation compared to Teladoc, plus growing at a faster rate. Teladoc market cap 30 billion about. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Come on, Daniel. Revenue 2x growth. Babylon 5.4x growth and 2.1x growth expected in 2022. But anyway, really good thread here. I won't go through it in its entirety. I would just say, click over if you want to have a look. There was this other one that I had pulled up because they announced their partnership with Microsoft 2 weeks ago, which is, really good timing considering they came to the market, I think, 6 days ago. And, redemptions were at 89%, only 3.6 million remaining floats, and they have this partnership with Microsoft. So lending a lot of credibility and certainly revenue speculation to their future. But really great account, really great threads. I would just say go check them out. I didn't think that it made sense to duplicate work because I would have just been pulling a lot of info from what that person had already dug up anyway. So happy to give them the credits here. All right, folks. Well, this is what I'm looking for at the moment, and we'll just have to see how it plays out. But as it gets interesting, I'll do my best to send out some updates on it either here and or on my Twitter. All right. In any case, I hope that you're able to finish the week off strong tomorrow, and I appreciate you watching. I will see you in the next video.